to the person that almost hit me with their car today on 50. You tried it. Oh, you tried it. Ooh, you tried it, but God blocked it. You tried it. Yeah. You tried it. Can't find the rhythm. You tried it. Ooh, but God blocked it. Yeah. Ooh. Mm. Roses are red, violets purple, gold isn't what it seems. Last night I saw. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I was just scrolling on my phone. My phone. Taunty. 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 Salutations! I didn't know the video had started. I bet you're wondering why I gathered you here today. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the family. My name is Tanti. You are my heartbeat. If you're not new to the channel, hey fam, how you doing? So heartbeats, if you haven't already figured it out, today is the portion of my channel where I tell a story and I give you a song to listen to, and it's not necessarily always inspirational. Looking back, I can be honest with myself about that. Some songs aren't always inspirational, but I get inspired by the message and the lyrics and the intention behind the song. And so today's song is none different. No different? Whatever. Get comfortable, cause it's story time. Boo. This is the part where Tanti reads a story. I forgot to record something for this. Woo! Okay, so I'm switching it up a little bit, y'all. This is an inspirational song and a story. It's just gonna be song and a story. So I want you to go listen to the song and then listen to the story. And then the moral of the story is the song. You see how I did that? 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah.
Female. So congrats.
So, today's song is Ain't It Fun by Paramore. Did we do another Paramore song already? No, I covered a Paramore song. You should check that out on my channel. I'll put the link. I beat my face a little bit for y'all today. Gave you a little beat. It's been a long time since I did makeup, and I just wanted to feel pretty again. I mean, I know that I'm pretty. Self-esteem is very important, and I want you all to know that you're pretty too. With or without makeup. I don't believe in the, you don't need makeup. You're beautiful already. If you want to wear makeup, wear makeup.
It's not for anybody else, it's for you.
It's also a form of artistic outlet. So don't let anybody make you feel like you shouldn't wear makeup because it's about aesthetics. It's also an art form. Okay, so I'll get off my soapbox about that. But that's important to know. Speaking of, I have to tell a short story before the actual story. So I went to Ulta Beauty. Love Ulta, to get some of the products you see on my face today. And I went with my nephew and my niece. I love them. They're so amazing, so full of life, not hardened by the world yet. And my nephew walked up to one of the people working at Ulta. He's 10. He said,
"Can I work here?"
And the Ulta worker was like,
"You gotta be 18.
And my nephew was like, oh, okay, and starts immediately firing off a series of random sentences. And then some of the sentences I'll give you right now were, guys can work here, which I'm trying to instill in my nieces and nephews that anybody can wear makeup, anybody can do anything they want as long as they're not hurting anybody, hurting themselves, and they're happy. I got that from Mara. Thanks, Marmy. But yeah, so he just starts firing off, boys can work here. And I go, yes, yes, they can. Boys can wear makeup. Yes, yes, they can. What's this? What's that? I might have said this in my last video, but I'm not sure I want to have kids, and that's okay. I have time. Anyway, so that was my little short story before the actual story. Went to Ulta. It was amazing. And I got to save half off on my purchase. So if you're into makeup and you're looking for more makeup, go to Ulta, get some points, and then you can use your points towards your purchase. 50% off. This isn't an Ulta ad. I just love a good deal, and I'm trying to help y'all out. Keep that in mind. So, today's story is accompanied by the song Ain't It Fun by Paramore. Ain't it fun living in the real world? So I used to cry to this song actually. When I first got to college, I would play this song and I would cry because I'd be like, no, it's not fun living in the real world. It's not fun living on my own. I am a big little fish in a big pond. Because when I was in high school, I liked my senior year of high school. All of high school wasn't great, but senior year was pretty fun because I was doing shows and I felt like I had a group of friends that I could trust and have fun with. I was skipping class. Don't skip class. Skip class, whatever, I'm not your parent. So, okay, I'm sorry, I can't advocate for people skipping class. It was senior year. Seniors ditch, okay? I was about to go to college. I don't know what to tell you. Don't make me a role model. So, yeah, but I went to college in my freshman year. I was aghast. Shocked was I at how little anybody cared. Like, everybody talks about on the internet how teachers in high school will be like, when you get to college, you can't do the same things that you're doing now, and the teachers are gonna be even more strict, which is not true, obviously. I once sent a 3-paragraph long email to one of my professors to tell him I would not be in class, and he said, okay, sent from iPhone. And obviously there are so many more stories like that on the internet because they're getting paid anyway. So I apologize to high school teachers who do care. And I know that there are professors at college who do care. I haven't met a lot of them. But anyway, so being in college was so different for me because I was, a little cute little important person in my theater and music department in high school, and then I get to school and college and everybody's like, who are you? It was like that scene in Mean Girls where Katie is walking around in the lunchroom and then she says Jumbo to what's that group called?
I had a lot of friends in Africa.
Jumbo.
What?
The unfriendly black hotties, which I feel like I don't like that name. The unfriendly black hotties. I feel some type of way about that. But if that's what y'all are calling them, no wonder that they're like, who are you every time you come to their table? If someone was like, you're an unfriendly black hottie, first of all, I'd be like, I know. Second of all, mind your business. Anyway, it's like that scene in Mean Girls where Katie is walking in the lunchroom and everybody's looking her up and down. You can't sit with us. That's kind of how college was, at least for me, especially in my theater department. Like, I'm not going to talk smack about the theater department at the school that I went to, but let's just say I moved to a different department afterwards because, well, that's a story for another day. I'll tell y'all later. I'm not trying to get nobody in trouble right now, but I am messy and I'm petty, so I'll come back to it. So, freshman year of college, I was in Manor South. Woo woo. No, Manor Northeast. I'm so sorry. Someone from my college like, you a liar. Stop lying. You ain't got to lie. That's not true. Manor Northeast is the name of my dorm from freshman year. I was in the 212 with my bestie, and we were frequently making friendships with the people on our side of the floor because there were two halves of the floor, and we used to hang out. Like, our room was the hangout spot. My house back in my hometown during high school was the hangout spot because my parents was in the kitchen. They was cooking. They was sprinkling the ancestor magic on the food. My friends were coming over. We would always have the parties. And so in freshman year, my place was the place to hang out. So one night, instead of going to a house party, which I'm going to be honest, I do like house parties more than like clubs, which, gas, I don't know. I don't like random people. At least these are people like who go to my college at a house party. But like in the club, it's just any old rando. They could be from the other side of the country. I don't know. But house parties, my freshman year were pretty disgusting to me because the level of crust, like beer crust on the floor in the kitchens, was too much to handle. And then the things that these guys in the kitchen were saying makes me not want to send my kids to college, you know, like, you nasties. I did not trust them, and I was not having it. So this night we decided to stay home and not go to a house party. And we were watching TV and a commercial comes on for a adult hotline. Yes. One of those hotlines where you call and you can have an adult conversation. So before Tinder, actually, no, yeah, this was before Tinder, if I'm not mistaken. How old am I? So people would, you know, back in the day, you know, just pressed 1 and you can have a conversation with a person who's eager to fulfill your every need, if you know what I mean. Fantasy. I'm trying to make this as elegant and innuendo-ish as possible. So freshman year, we decided to call this number because why not? We're in college and it's a Friday night. So let's call a happy ending hotline. So we call this number, and of my friends, my best friend had the most
sensual seduction, so I can get a sensual seduction
voice out of all of us. She had the most smoky bedroom voice, I would say. I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. I was trying to get into the mood. It starts playing that old school adult film music. Anyway, so she had the most we decided she had the most sensual voice, and so she would do the phone call talking. So we wanted to hear how this conversation would go. But she's also very awkward. Like, she can't even order pizza on the phone or like make a doctor's appointment without being really uncomfortable, which is fair because I don't really like talking to people on the phone either. I'd rather just like text or just don't call me. There's too many expectations with relationships. But she didn't feel comfortable talking on the phone once we actually started talking. Like, we got someone to pick up. So you call this hotline essentially, and they ask you your preferences. They ask you your name, and we picked the name Vivicus. Not Vivica. Sounds close, doesn't it? Vivicus. And I'll tell you why, Alex. Because our friend who lived in the dorm next to us bought some hair dye. And on the hair dye box, the name of the color was Vivacious Red or Vivacious Blonde or whatever. And she came to us and said, "Hey, I bought this hair dye. It's called Vivicus Red." We were like,
What? What did you say?
and she was like, "Yeah, Vivicus Red, right?" Shows us the box. When I tell you, I've just never heard anyone pronounce the word vivacious like that. It was great. So anyway, we went with Vivicus. Vivicus for the name of our fake person, for persona, for my best friend to talk on the phone with. And she's using this, you know, low voice like,
Yes, my name is Vivicus.
it was very freshman year of college thing to do. Very freshman year of college thing to do. That's not the right way to say that. Whatever. And she, as soon as she heard the other person on the line, the way that she described his voice was crusty. I told her to put it on speakerphone so we could hear it. And when I tell you, this man sounded like he's been ashy all his life. That was an ashy voice. I'm sorry, I have to be honest. I do agree that he was crusty sounding. I'm sorry. And as soon as he starts to talk to her, she panics and doesn't want to do it anymore. And she hands the phone to me and then runs down the hallway. So I hand the phone to Vivicus, our friend who came up with the word Vivicus, and start to chase her. Now, it's Friday night in a dorm. These type of antics ensue, chasing each other, ha ha ha. So as I go to chase her, I get stuck, my class ring gets stuck on the little silver part of a door that the door latch goes into. Bet you didn't think that the story was going this direction. Just wait. So my finger, the ring on my finger, gets stuck on this little door latch. And in my mind, I'm still trying to chase my best friend to get her to talk to this crusty man on the phone for this adult hotline. And my first inclination is to just yank it because I have things to do. I have a chase to continue. And I yank my hand to pull my ring out of this latch. Not only did I not pull my finger out of the latch, but I realized as I pulled my hand out gently after yanking it that my finger was in excruciating pain. And I thought it was just because, I had pulled the finger and the ring had, rubbed against the latch and it hurt. That's why it hurt, right? Yeah, that makes sense. The ring was in my finger. The ring was in my finger. And I really want to show a picture of what it looks like, but I don't know if that would be considered graphic content on YouTube. The ring was in my finger, and I'm not joking when I say this. To the point that I looked down, my first thought was, ow. And my second thought was, this ring is in my finger, inside my finger. And so I scream, and everyone in the dorm comes running out, and I show everyone that the ring is in my finger. Now, actually looking back at it, I don't think I screamed because I was so in shock. The person who screamed was Miss Vivicus. She looked at my finger and screamed. And that's how I knew, oh, this is not good. The rest of this night is going to turn out interesting. We get to the hallway so I could start showing other people that this ring is inside my finger at this point. So the whole part of the ring that's on the inside of my hand is inside of my finger, broken and stuck. Can't get the ring off because it's inside my flesh. And my best friend says,
We need to go to the hospital.
we're freshmen who don't have cars. So I don't know how we were going to get to the hospital without calling the campus police and explaining to them that we were calling an adult fantasy hotline. Not the best solution at this point, not the answer I wanted to go with. So we went to our RA because we were taught that your RA is the person you can trust, go to with your situations. So we went to our RA and showed her that the ring was inside of my finger, and she screamed and started panicking and said, we're going to the hospital right now. Now, mind you, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I had class the next day. But my focus was on the fact that, how am I going to tell my mom that this ring is in my finger? Because I was calling an adult fantasy hotline. And my best friend decided to punk out, run away. So I chased her. And my stupid butt got my ring stuck in the door, yanked it. It's in my finger. Not a story I wanted to tell my mom because I'm supposed to be paying attention to school. I'm there for learning. They're paying for college. They're not paying for me to call adult fantasy hotlines. So we get to the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning. I run in, and the level of nonchalance with which the hospital staff treated this, it was as if they had seen rings and fingers every day. But now that I think about it, they were a hospital in a college town, and it was like the beginning of the year. So the amount of people's stomachs they probably had to pump, the amount of kids who came in there who were high on some substance or other, the amount of kids who came in there doing all manner of reckless things, they were used to it. So I go in and I say my ring is inside my finger. At first they're not understanding what I'm saying to them until I show it to them, and their faces lit up with glee. It was as if it was Christmas Day in the hospital. They were so excited because nobody had ever gotten a ring stuck in their finger. They were so nonchalant in the beginning of the night because they were just used to doing the same old thing, the same old cases over and over again. And then a kid comes in with a ring in their finger, and everyone in the hospital had to know. It was like it spread through the hospital like wildfire. Everyone was coming to see this ring on my finger. I felt like I was on display. It was not the type of experience I wanted. Did I mention this was my second week of college? I had been in college for 2 weeks when this happened. So we get checked in, and everyone's just coming by to check out my finger. And I'm like, am I going to get helped at any point? Or are we just going to look at this to observe it? No, I didn't get helped for a couple of hours. They just came to look at my finger. And when I get to the back, the doctor who sees me apparently was the only person in this hospital who didn't know what the situation was until I showed them. And they are baffled as to how they're going to get this ring out of my finger. By this point, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've already called my mom. She's disappointed. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that. She was just disappointed. And I can't blame her. I send my daughter to college, and 2 weeks in, this child is calling adult fantasy hotlines. I didn't tell her that part. Yeah, I probably did. I snitch on myself a lot, so I probably did. And she is getting rings stuck in her finger. It was a class ring. It was Peridot. I loved it so much. I think I still have it. I think I might go get it to show it to y'all. So, I've called my mom. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I already decided at this point I'm not going to class. And just for kicks and giggles, I send the picture of what it looks like to my professors via email to let them know I'm not going to class. That was a fun conversation when I got to class the next day. But anyway, the doctor who sees me, he looks at the ring in my finger, asks how I get it. And by this point, I think, you know what? Why not? Dr. So-and-so, my friends and I were calling an adult fantasy hotline. My other friend here, the one who's standing next to me, shivering and feeling guilty, is guilty of running away after telling us she would talk to this person. Everyone's allowed to back out at any point they want to when they're not comfortable. But none of us had the courage to talk to this crusty man on the phone. It sounded like he had never put lotion to his feet a day in his life. And gosh darn it, I was going to chase her down so she could get back on the phone. And my finger got stuck. And by then, this doctor is so tired from I'm sure is an 18-hour shift, that this level of nonsense is just more than he could take. And so he says, okay, I'm just gonna bring out the tool that we use for situations like this. Now I'm thinking,
What's the tool you use for situations like this, Dr. So-and-so?
I don't like pain. I don't like that kind of pain. And that's all I'll say about that. That was my attempt at a wink. Anyway, I so I'm sitting here turning into the biggest punk in this chair. So when the doctor says to the nurse that's helping us,
Bring out the tool.
I'm thinking, what you mean? What tool you gonna use? What we talking about here? Like a little mini saw or something? Like, I just want to keep my finger. I'm thinking that I'm going to get my finger amputated. Like, that's how serious I thought it was. But I'm also dramatic. So I was just replaying the worst case scenarios in my head of what could happen to him bringing out the tool. It turned out to just be like the mini jaws of life. Like, you know, the jaws of life that they use to get people out of car accidents? It was like a mini jaws of life, which shouldn't be cute, but it was actually kind of cute. And so he cut them off, and it was pretty anticlimactic, considering that there was like a really bad code red situation happening in another part of the hospital right next to us, which, y'all, apparently this person had been in the hospital, and this is a very sad situation, and I'm not making light of it at all. I'm making light of how nonchalant the doctors were. Our healthcare system, they've seen some things. But this person had come back to the hospital with their like 6th or 7th overdose. And I'm sitting there with a reasonable amount of shock and horror on my young face. And the doctors and nurses are just like, yeah, he's back again. And if that, oh, America, we gotta do better. Anyway, so they bring out the mini jaws of life and cut off this little ring off my finger. And at this point, I just want to keep it as a souvenir. And I want to go to sleep because I had started the night wanting to have a little fun story to tell my kids about the time that their aunt talked to a crusty fantasy hotline guy, and ended the night with having a story to tell my kids about how their mama got a ring inside of her hands her 2nd week of college. The end of that story is not very interesting. I go back home. My RA is still noticeably upset because I don't think she expected to have to deal with this her 2nd week on the job. And I'm just glad that I didn't have to go to a house party and listen to nasty frat guys talk about things that I don't want to hear. And I have a souvenir from that night, and I will show it to you if you give me a sec. So here is the ring from when they cut it off my finger. It's still cut from one mini jaws of life, and this part of the ring was inside of my finger. This finger right here, which still has a little scar from it on it. Can't tell if it's hard to see. Anyway. No, wait, it wasn't that finger. It was this finger. The one that, yeah, that's where it was. They had to use the mini jaws of life to break it off. That's the lump from it being in my finger. Isn't it gross? And if you want to see the picture, let me know, because it's really gross. I feel like I was really excited to show people this picture. I put it on Instagram. I put the picture on Instagram of this ring inside my finger, and the level of disgust I received was, I feel like more appropriate than the level of glee from the doctors and nurses that looked at it that night. Let's just say that. Anyway, the ending of this story is just not that interesting because I went home to my dorm and I slept with my souvenir of this ring. And I had a fun story to tell my kids, which was supposed to be about a fun night of calling a crusty man on the adult fantasy hotline. Now that I say that, I don't know if I would ever tell my kids that story, But now I have a different story to tell my kids, which is the time that I got a ring inside of my finger and had to go to the hospital at 3 o'clock in the morning, my second week of college, because I was chasing their aunt because she backed out of a commitment. Promise, a verbal agreement was made, and she backed out. And in this family, we stick to our promises, and I was going to hold her to it. And that's the lesson there. Also, to tie it back to the song, ain't it fun living in the real world? Ain't it fun being on your own? Getting a ring stuck in your finger? I should have just went to a house party. But then again, I'd rather have a souvenir of my ring and a story about. And you know what? I made those hospital people's night. I would rather do that, a service to the community, than be unsticking my boots from a beer-encrusted floor. And I don't feel bad about saying that. If you are in a fraternity or sorority, make sure your kitchens are clean, okay? Because that's gross. I'm sorry, this is just a PSA from Tonti. Clean up your kitchens in Greek houses, okay? And especially now that it's a pandemic, clean your kitchen. Ain't it fun living in the real world? Ain't it fun being on your own? Yeah. Ain't it fun? So my heartbeats, this family meeting is officially adjourned. If you like this video and want to see more videos like this, or hear more stories from me and more songs that I think you should listen to, you can like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified anytime I make a video. And if you really didn't like this and you want to let me know that too, I would suggest that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when I make a video, and then let me know that you didn't like it. Consistency is key. But until next time, I just want to let you know that I love you, I need you, and I'm here for you. Love, Tonti. Bye. Silence. Silence.